Have you ever thought about using a Google form to gather information about your students' independent reading? I decided to create a simple Google form that I could include in a Seesaw Choice Board activity. By using a Google form, I had a way to collect data on individuals and my class, and I could also track their reading record over a period of time. It's easily accessible, and my students could even use that exit form as a way to create a culminating activity with Seesaw's creative tools. We'll start in a Google Classroom. At any time, you can always go back and review or slow down this tape to catch up with where the directions are. Go to Create, choose Assignment, and give your assignment a title. Add simple instructions and choose the Create a Form button. A simple form will come up and you want to give it a name, and off to the right you choose the plus sign to add your questions and the type of answers you'd like your students to give. I also want to know how many pages my students are reading so I can track that over a course of a marking period. I clicked over there to just make sure my title is available, and I'll go back to my main Google Classroom page where I will give it a 5-point value as part of a grade, another benefit of using Google Classroom and assigning it. Here, at the 3 dots, we can copy that link to use in our Seesaw activity. A Seesaw activity was the perfect choice for adding our Google form. We created a choice board for the weekly activities so students had the option of using all Seesaw's creative tools to choose how they wanted to show their learning. Using the Google form, they also are able to extend the activity by giving a book review and then sharing that on our blog or with a QR code. Seesaw is where our students will get to be creative using some of the many tools that Seesaw offers. The Google form will be one of the requirements added to this Seesaw activity of weekly independent reading. Students could use the choices each week, and they also completed the Google form for me. I was able to track their data, get some information about how many pages they were reading, but I also allowed them to use the creative tools in Seesaw to show what they know. We're going to look at the activity and edit it so you can see all the components that are included. If you would like to know more about creating an activity or creating a choice board, we'll add some links in our resources at the end of the presentation. Right now, we have our title and we have our directions. The directions are flexible for students who are in the middle of a book or for students who may have finished their book at the end of the week. Our template was added using the multi-page feature. So on page 2 are all the choices we've made available to the students. We have 5 choices and they must complete 3 during the week. They must also go and complete the Google form. It's a mandatory assignment. That's going to be on another page just to emphasize its importance. We also added links onto each activity that will link the choice to a template that's already been loaded and created for our students. We want to have our students have the opportunity to draw using the drawing tools. They can use the camera here for the second choice right here and record themselves reading independently. And we have a place and a template for that right over here. We also have them able to make a sketch note to add words and pictures and phrases from their learning, and they can doodle on this page number 7. Back here on our page, they can use a Venn diagram, and just to make it easier for the kids, we made a Venn diagram for them that's linked to that choice. And we also have a summary so that can show comprehension skills. And our students will click on that page, it will take them to page 9, and we have a place where they can type if they would like to do that. It's now time to add the link to our Google form into this choice board. And the simplest way to do that is to choose a label, and I like to have a transparent label. And I'm going to drag that label right down here onto my screen, and I will click on it and make sure that I can add a link. I'll paste my link into there, and I will now have the link show up. I can decide where I'd like it to be on the canvas, and I kind of like it right there where my students can see it easily. Now, some of our students may have finished the book, and we want to make that Google form just not data for me, but data for our students. So if the student happens to finish the book during the week, they will have an opportunity to skip the choices and move on to creating a book review. You may remember that one of our questions was to rate the book. Well, students will have been rating the book each week as they've been reading, and they'll use their information from their Google form to create a short book review that they will create in another Seesaw activity. They will give their opinion and they will post it and share it on our class blog, which allows students to share with parents and other students to receive information and feedback about books that they may want to read. It's a great way to show evidence of learning, but to do the sharing and the creative part that makes Seesaw so special. When the student sees this activity, they just simply click on Add Response. All my instructions are clear and right up here for them to read. And they'll go to this page right here. They'll pick their choices. Throughout the week, they can hit draft so that the draft will save, and each day they can go in and do another reading choice. And on a Friday or the end of the week, whatever day that may be, they'll go into page 3 and click on their Google form. And it will take them right to their Google Classroom where they can complete the independent reading survey, which they can use as a guide to help them create a book review as a culmination activity. Adding a Google form to a Seesaw choice board is a perfect combination, and then using that Google form as the basis for creating a book review later on allows our students to share something with their classmates and their families in an authentic way. It definitely makes their learning visible with others.